what you're thinking, or maybe not thinking, because nobody wants to think about it, do they? Nobody wants to sit in the weight of the thing that I've done. It was never about not loving you, or your dad, or any of the beautiful, brilliant things you put in that list. God, that list. I knew about it, you know. I found it once tucked under your bed, and I read every single word. And you, my love, you were on that list in 1,000 different ways. Your laugh, your smile, your ridiculous dance moves in the kitchen. I didn't tell you I read it because I didn't want you to know how much I needed it. How much I needed you. But needing someone, that's difficult, isn't it? It's unfair to put that on a child, no matter how smart and brilliant they are. You were never supposed to be the one to save me. That was never your job. I tried. God, I tried. I went to the doctors. I took the pills. I painted fake smiles on my face till my cheeks hurt, but depression. It's like you're in a room and the walls are closing in. You push and you push, but they close in until you can't breathe. And I know it made no sense because I had you. I had your dad, who tried so hard in his own clumsy way. I had mornings where the light would shine through the curtains, soft and golden, and I thought maybe today would be different. But it wasn't. Not for long, and I got tired. So tired that even your beautiful list couldn't pull me out of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't stay. I'm sorry I let the darkness win, and I know you're angry. You should be. You have every right to hate me, but please, please don't let this be the end of the story. Keep writing the list, even when you hate it, even when you want to rip it up and throw it in the bin because there's something sacred in the act of finding joy when everything else feels broken. Please don't carry this like a weight on your shoulders. I don't want to be a burden in your life. I want to be a memory. A messy, complicated, but loving one. I love you. And I always have, and that love, that's brilliant. That's on the list too. It always will be.
After her first attempt, a list of everything brilliant about the world, everything worth living for. 1. Ice cream!
Yippee!
2. Water fights! 3.
Staying up past your bedtime and getting to watch TV!
4.
The colour yellow.
5.
Dangerous stripes!
6.
Roller coasters! Oh!
7.
People falling
which is where my mum was. Up until that day, my only experience of death was that of my dog, Sherlock Bones. Sherlock Bones was older than me and a central part of my existence. He became very ill, and so the vet came over and had to put him down. I won't ask you to do much. Just stand there for me. Does anyone have a jacket I can borrow?
I think we might have one.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so you're the vet, I'm me as a 7-year-old girl, and this is Charlotte Bones. I know you because you're one of the parents from school. You say something reassuring, like,
you are doing the kind thing, but not a moment of choosing.
and I don't know what that means because, well, I'm 7. I have no real concept of finality or mercy. But you seem like a nice person, so I trust you. Does anyone have a pencil I can borrow? Ah, thank you. Thanks. So, this pencil is the needle. It contains an anesthetic called pentobarbital. The dose is large enough to make the dog unconscious and depress his brain, circulatory and respiratory systems, putting him to sleep forever. It's completely blunt, so it won't draw on your coat. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to ask you to come over here and inject Sherlock Bones in the thigh. No, the thigh. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. There is one hard and fast rule when it comes to euthanizing a child's pet, and that is that you really mustn't laugh. It completely changes the tone of the situation. So, let's try that again. Maybe take a moment to respect the solemnity of the situation. Now stroke his head. Could somebody with a watch please tell me when 30 seconds has passed? I held Sherlock Bones as he died, and I thought about the walk we'd had that morning. His toys in the garden, the smell of him in my room, the recently opened packet of dry food, his bed under the stairs, all things that could now be thrown away. And I held him as he became lighter, or heavier. I'm not sure, but different. And that was it. My first experience of death. A loved one becoming an object and being taken away forever. Thank you. Thank you. It's the 9th of November 1987. It's late and it's dark. All the other kids have been picked up a long time ago. Eventually, my dad comes up. Which is weird because usually it's my mum who picks me up. And normally she's on time. Normally she makes me sit in the back of the car because, well, I'm 7 and I make things sticky. But this time it's Dad. And he opens the door to the front passenger seat. Dad looks at me. I looked at him. Do you ever get that feeling where your body knows what's happening before your brain does? It's a stress response. The hormones adrenaline and cortisol flood your system. It feels like a trapdoor opening beneath you. Fight or flight, or stand as still as you can. I stood very still, looking at my dad. Eventually I did get into the car. Dad had been smoking with the window down and he had the radio on.
Right, put on your seatbelt.
Why?
Because cars can be dangerous.
Why?
Because other drivers don't always pay attention.
Why?
Because there's a lot to think about when you're a grown-up. There's bills to pay, work to do, relationships to sustain, and there's not enough time to do it all.
Why?
Because there's only 24 hours in a day.
Why?
Because that's how long it takes for the Earth to rotate.
Why?
Because, I don't know.
Why?
Because I don't know everything.
Why?
Because that's impossible.
Why?
Because someone can only know so much.
Why?
Because if you're able to know everything, there'll be no curiosity, no creativity, no discovery, no mystery, nothing would be new, and there'll be no need to use our imagination, and our imagination is what makes life bearable.
Why?
Because in order to live in the present, you have to be able to imagine a future that'll be better than the past.
Why?
Because that's what hope is, and without hope, we couldn't go on.
Why?
Because... Can you put on your seatbelt?
Why?
Because we're going to the hospital.
Why?
Because that's where your mother is.
Why?
Because she hurt herself.
Why?
Because she's sad.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I just don't.
Why?
Put on your seatbelt.
Why?
We're going to the hospital.
Why?
Because your mother can't see anything worth living for.
Why? At least that's how I like to remember it. We actually just sat in silence the whole time. The only thing he said was,
Your mother's done something stupid.
I didn't know what that meant. When I got to the hospital, I saw Mum and said,
Not her.
So I went and sat in the waiting room next to an old couple who bought me chocolates and a carton of juice. I don't know exactly when I got the idea for the list, but it was here, with the old couple, that I started to write it down.
Outside.
I know.
She wants to see you.
I can't.
Well, you've got to.
I said I can't.
Don't you realise what this is doing to her? She thinks it's her fault.
It's not her fault.
Well then tell her that. Look at her in the eyes and say that to her. Because right now she's out there thinking she's the reason you tried to. She's sitting in that cold plastic chair, staring at the floor, waiting for you to come out and say that everything will be okay.
It's not going to be okay.
Well, it could be.
No, it can't, because I'm me and I will mess it up again.
So what? That's it. You're just going to give up.
Do you think I wanted this? Do you think I woke up this morning and thought, oh, today's a good day to destroy my family? I was just done. Tired of pretending I'm okay when I'm not. Tired of trying to be the perfect mum, the perfect wife, when I can't even be a person. And now I've ruined it. I've broken something I can't fix.
You didn't break her. She's a kid. She's resilient. But what will break her is this. You refusing to see her. That's the thing that'll stick.
I can't. I won't know what to say.
Say you love her.
It won't be enough.
It will be to her.
Not this time. She'll look at me differently now. Like I'm fragile, like I'm dangerous, and I can't bear that.
So, she's going to refuse to see her. That's the choice you're making right now.
Maybe she is better off without me.
You don't mean that.
I do. I love her too much to mess her up even more.
You refusing to see her is what will mess her up. Not this, not today. Don't, please, just don't make me go out there and say you won't see her.
I'm sorry, but I can't.
Well, I hope you figure this out. Because if you don't, I'll be the one picking up the pieces.
1,
Ice cream!
2,
Water fight! Ah!
3,
Staying up past your bedtime and getting to watch TV!
4,
The colour yellow.
5,
These are stripes!
6,
Roller coasters!
People falling over.
8,
2.
9,
Chocolate.
10.
I know people who aren't weird and don't sound unusual. Ah, lovely.
Alright people, listen up. This isn't a drill. We've got a new one, fresh off the press. Number 47. The smell of old books. I need the setting working overtime, dust, leather binding, and a hint of mystery. To make it magical, team, I want that smell to hit you like a hug from a librarian, got it? And you, yeah you, how's ice cream on a hot day coming along? Melting level still about 10%. No drips on the fingers. Perfect. Nothing ruins a memory faster than sticky hands. Learned that the hard way. what we're doing here. These aren't just little random things. They're the good stuff. The stuff that makes staying worth it. And trust me, some days, that's not easy. Especially for the mums. And this girl, 7 years old, can you believe it? 7! And she's already figured it out. The little things, they matter. And that if we just maybe, part enough good memories, it'll hold someone here. Keep them from slipping away. So we get it right every time. Because every laugh, every joy, every brilliant thing counts. So when the world seems heavy, we make sure there's still light. Now, what's next? Number 7, people falling over. Let's get the slapstick team on standby. I want banana peels, misplaced skateboards. And hopefully that might be enough. Now chop chop people, we've got memories to make.
Dad was in with Mum for ages. When he finally came out, I followed him down the corridor. I followed him out of the hospital. I followed him into the car park. I followed him into the car. I followed him out of the car. I followed him up the driveway. I followed him all the way up into his study until he shut the door, and I couldn't get any further. I stood outside his study waiting to see the music. I knew the rules. If it was this woman singing, it meant I could go inside.
Sunday is blooming, my hours are slumberless. Dearest, the shadows I live with are numberless.
If it was the kind of music you could sing and dance to, I could go in, but I ran the risk of being hugged as funny as this.
She was the roughest, toughest frail. Minnie had a heart as big as a whale.
If there was nobody singing, it meant Dad was working, so I should be quiet. And if it sounded like all of the instruments were just falling down the stairs, it meant I should leave them alone. So, waiting outside his office, I waited to see what music was on. I went downstairs and made myself some dinner. A ham and mayo sandwich, just without the ham. It occurred to me that the list should be presented in no particular order. There was no way of saying that objectively Danger Mouse was better than spaghetti bolognese. 23.
Danger Mouse!
24. Spaghetti bolognese. 25.
Where are your cake?
26.
Big in the sea and nobody knows.
I stayed up late writing the list and must have fallen asleep. Dad must have carried me upstairs.
Come on. Every goddamn time.
Mum didn't come home for a week or so. While she was away, I had to speak to the school's guidance counsellor, which was actually just Mrs. Patterson from the upper school. She was a lovely woman, the sort of woman you looked at and immediately trusted. What she'd do, and this may sound weird, but remember, it was the 80s and she got results. What she'd do is she'd take off her shoe. She'd take off her shoe. And then she'd take off her sock. Yep, her hop sock. She'd take them off. And she'd put them on her hand and talk you through them like a sock puppet. Which she called... What did you call the sock puppet? Yes, that's it, I remember it now. And what Moss Mostyn would do is he'd ask you questions like,
How are you feeling today?
I'm fine, thank you, Mostyn. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're awesome. What kind of dog are you?
I'm a white poodle.
That's awesome. Growing up, I had a dog called Sherlock Bones. He was a cross between a Border Collie and a Doberman, because a Border Collie and a Doberman lived next door to each other. Very You're brilliant. I'm going to add you to my list. 164, Mostyn's hot dog. Have I told you about my list?
No, tell me about
I'm writing a list of 1,000 brilliant things. I'm not certain, but I think I might be a genius. It's been lovely talking to you, but can I go now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Mum didn't come home for about a week or so, but by the time she had come home, the list was 8 pages long and had 314 things on it. I left it on her pillow with the title, Every Brilliant Thing. She never mentioned it, but I knew she'd read it because she corrected the spelling. I continued talking with Mostyn and Mrs. Patterson once a week, then once a fortnight, then once a month, and then one day I left the school and I never saw them again. I don't want to make it sound like my mother was a monster or that my childhood was miserable, because it wasn't. We had a piano in our kitchen. It wasn't a big kitchen, but it was the warmest room in the house. We all used to gather around it and sing soul songs. There's this one Ray Charles song, Drown in My Own Tears. We all used to howl it like wolves in the kitchen. The way he sings the word, yo, gets me every single time and sends a shiver down my spine. 330.
Having a piano in the kitchen.
340. The way Ray Charles sings, yo!
Without you, it keeps raining. Oh, oh.
I forgot about the list until her second attempt almost 10 years later. Dad showed up halfway through chemistry, the same fight or flight feeling, the same wordless drive to the hospital.
She knows you're here.
Did you tell her why?
She wanted to come.
You should have let her.
Why? So she can sit in the same chair wondering what's wrong with you again. She's 17, for God's sake. She shouldn't still have to clean up after all of this.
I didn't ask her to.
You didn't have to.
She still keeps that list in.
Yeah?
Does she know I read it?
No.
She doesn't know I've seen it.
I didn't tell her. I figured it was your choice. Do you even care about it?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yes.
I used to hate it, that list. Every time I saw it lying around, it felt like pressure. Like she was handing me a checklist on how to stay alive and I was failing at it. But then I started reading it. Properly reading it, and it's beautiful, you know. It's filled with all these tiny, perfect things. Like the smell of rain on a hot pavement, the way toast crunches when you bite it, that little laugh you do when you think no one's listening. It made me wonder if she learned how to see the world that way, because I never could. It didn't stop like this.
It's not supposed to stop it. It's just supposed to help. She loves you.
I know.
And why?
Because love isn't always enough.
You say that like it's a fact. But it's enough for her, and it used to be enough for me too. You know what's funny? 10 years ago, we were in the same exact place. And I asked you to show up for her. did. For a while. We had parties, holidays, you'd even laugh sometimes. But I knew it was temporary. I knew this would come back. I just don't know how long I can keep doing this for.
I don't blame you.
God, that's not the point.
You think I don't hate this? That I don't wake up every day and wish I was normal, happy? That I could sit at dinner and talk about stupid things without this thing inside me telling me it's all pointless? I'm tired, okay? I've been fighting this for so long and I'm just tired.
So what now?
I don't know. But I want to try again. For her and maybe for us too. Okay?
Okay, I just don't think I can do this alone.
I won't let you. The younger me had dealt with this so much better. She wore her heart on her sleeve. The night Mum came home, she sat at the kitchen table and said that if it wasn't for the ham and pineapple pizza lining her stomach from the night before, she'd be dead. And I said, you took 3 weeks worth of antidepressants, half a tub of antihistamines and a packet of aspirin. You're probably healthier than I am. You're going to kill yourself, go jump off a bridge. Instead of storming off, I sat there shoveling food into my mouth. I was furious. I had spent ages on this meal and she was just sat there wishing she were dead and letting it go cold. There was then a moment of absolute deafening silence. And then she started to laugh. And I mean, actually laugh and found myself. Eventually Dad got up and went to study to listen to records. I started to clear out my room, packing up the things I wanted to keep and throwing away the things I didn't. I started to shake. Have you ever had that? When you notice that your hands are shaking and your breathing's deeper and you realise that you're upset. I must be really upset.
You'd be surprised how fragile a memory is. Everyone thinks they're permanent, like a tattoo on the grave. They fade, don't they? Soften around the edges. You forget the shape of a voice or smell of someone shampooing. That's where I come in. My job? I make them last. I'm the memory maker. And not the vague, funny sort you half recall when you're drifting off to sleep, no. I do the good stuff. The ones that stick. The ones that hold you here. Right here. Take this. Number 247. Mum dancing in the kitchen.
Are running around. If you don't think you'll be home soon, I guess I'll.
Bare feet on the cold tiles, the radio way too loud. She burnt the toast. Again. But no one cared because she was laughing. This is what love looks like. You probably don't remember how warm it felt in that room, but I do. I keep it safe. Or this. The list. Every brilliant thing. Your brilliant things. You started when you were a kid.
Ice cream! The colour yellow!
Staying up past your bedtime. Silly, simple things, but they mattered. Because when you felt yourself falling, they were the rope that pulled you back. And your mum? She needs that rope now. The truth is, I've seen what happens when the good things slip away. How heavy the world gets when the good things fade. And when someone's down on the edge, like your mum, you can't just expect her to remember why she should stay. You have to rebuild every laugh, every touch, every time That's why we're here. Not giving up. Not today. Not with their still light left to catch. You don't need grand gestures. It's the simple things. A cup of tea, a handheld, a silly song on a bad day. Remind yourself, those things, they add up. They always add up.
And then, under my bed, underneath some action figures, sticker albums, and seashells, I found the list. And I started to read through it. 1. Ice cream! The younger me had dealt with this so much better. She wasn't self-righteous. She was hopeful, naive, of course, but hopeful. When I got to the end of the list, I picked up a pen and I continued where that little girl had left off. 315.
The smell of old books.
316. Andre Agassi. 317.
The even number of the Star Trek films.
318. Loving Things. 319.
Laughing so hard, you should milk out your nose.
320. The next morning, I sat at the end of Mum's bed and I read the list through to her. She got up and left, and so I followed her and I read louder. 516.
Oh, winning things!
517.
Knowing someone well enough to get them to check your teeth for broccoli.
I would leave messages on the answer phone, or turn off the radio, or stand in front of the TV. I spent a lot of time talking to her back. So I began to leave post-it notes around the house, stuck to various things. On her mirror was 575.
Piglets.
On the kettle was 653.
Marlon Brando.
And on her bed, 11.
Beds.
And each morning I would open my door and I would see a small stack of little yellow post-it notes. So I became more inventive, writing on the inside of cereal packets or shoes, carving the words into fruit, or rearranging the fridge magnets. Inside the lid of some mustard was 201.
Alex!
324.
Needed for the boy!
Was stenciled onto a baguette. I wanted to get up to 1,000 and I wasn't allowed to cheat, but meant A, no repetition, B, things had to be genuinely wonderful and life-affirming, and C, not too many material items. For the next few weeks, the list became my sole focus. 761.
Deciding you're not too hard to climb trees!
823.
Skinny dipping!
992.
Going to Jack Nicky's at the wildlife park if you want the otters to come out.
993.
Oh, having dessert as a main course.
994.
Hairdressers who actually listen to what you want.
996.
Bubble wrap.
997.
Really good oranges.
I started to be bothered by the fact that my mum no longer loved my dad. I put the thoughts out of my head and I continued with the list. 997.
Cycling downhill out the way!
998.
Aromatic dot pancake.
It's common for the children of suicide to blame themselves. It's natural. 999.
Sunlight.
However much you know that you're not to blame, you can't help feeling like you are. It's not fair to feel this way, but it's natural. In the first week of university, I posted the list to Mum anonymously, and when I returned that Christmas, I found it neatly folded back into its envelope. I still don't know whether or not she had read it. It certainly hadn't seemed to change her outlook on things, so I just put it between the pages of my favourite book and I then forgot about it. That Christmas was quiet and difficult. In the new year, Dad Dad drove me back to university. He gave me a box of his records. I wanted to ask him why, but I knew better than that. We didn't speak, we just listened to the radio. I was quite shy at university. I didn't really socialise. I mostly just sat in my room and listened to records. But there was this one lecture series I never missed. It was by someone whose books I had read and loved and had inspired me to take the course in the first place. It was about a Victorian novella, The Sorrows of a Young Werther, by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. And what the lecturer would do is, at the start of each lecture, he would hold the book aloft, and then he would leave a very long and dramatic pause. And when he felt like he had everybody's undivided attention, he would give a very long and accurate precis of the novel.
Visiting an idyllic German village, Werther, a sensitive young man, meets and falls in love with sweet-natured Lottie. Although he realises she is married Albert, he is unable to subdue his passion. His infatuation torments him to the point of despair. The first great confessional novel, The Sorrows of Young Werther, draws upon both his suffering for Charlotte Bath and the death of his friend Karl Wilhelm Jerusalem. The book was an immediate success, and a cult rapidly grew up around it, resulting in numerous imitations as well as violent criticisms and expression on the grounds of its apparent support to suicide.
Excuse me? I have a question.
Yes.
Are you saying that this book, caused people to take their own lives?
Yes.
And you want us to read it?
Yes.
I left the lecture and I went to the library. I left the lecture and I went to the library. I read up on social contagions, divorce, suicide, obesity. In the months after Marilyn Monroe's death by overdose, the number of suicides in the US increased by 12%. Every time a celebrity or character on primetime telly takes their own lives, there is a spike in the number of suicides. Suicide is contagious. It's called the Werther effect, named after Goethe's protagonist. Discovering this fact made me really angry, and then it made me really sad. I thought about the way that suicide is presented in the news or on TV, and I found that the Samaritans had published a list of guidelines on how the media can report on suicide intellectually. They're really simple. It's don't provide technical details, never suggest a method is quick, easy, painless, or certain to result in death. Avoid
Why do you say the word commit? Don't describe death
Like
by
suicide.
Don't speculate on the reason. That's crucial.
Never say that it's because he just lost his job or she'd recently become bankrupt. I read the book, Sorrows of a Young Werther. It was shit. Well, I didn't really connect with it. I'd never really been interested in anyone romantically, or at least I hadn't been until I locked eyes with the only other person who was always in the library. The first time in my life I understood the lyrics of pop songs, and then after a while I finally worked up the courage to say hello. Is anyone sitting there?
Not anymore.
Oh, good. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name?
Sam.
Hi Sam, nice to meet you. What are you reading? Oh, I forgot. Does anybody have a book? We're in a library, so I need a few books. I do. Not that one.
St. George and the Dragon.
What's it about?
St. George slays dragons.
That sounds really good. In fact, that sounds so good. In fact, why don't you read this one, and I can read St. George and the Dragon, and then we can meet up over coffee or tea, or even ice cream or orange juice, and then we can talk about it if that's something you would like.
That sounds great.
Have a date. We began to meet up and discuss the books over coffee. More from the book Sam gave me than any of my course texts. And, after a few weeks of doing this, Sam returned a book to me, and it was one of my favourite childhood books. He said,
Really interesting read. Something really interesting in this book that I think you should read.
Now this confused me because I'd given it to him. But because I'm an idiot, I didn't realise until weeks later that it was a code, until I opened the book and the list dropped out. I was mortified. I had never told anybody about my mum. And there were times as a kid where I would be at school and I wouldn't have any food in my lunchbox or socks on or something silly. I didn't want people to think that because my mother was, I don't know, and out of context, this was just some stupid, childish list. The idea that a list of brilliant things could combat hard-wired depression was embarrassingly naive, and I got so angry I went to rip it in half, and I noticed somebody else's handwriting. You added to it?
Yeah.
Why?
I thought that was the point.
It's not a group project.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's fine. What did you write?
Number 1000.
When you recommend books to somebody and they love them.
It's a classic, right?
You shouldn't have done that.
It's just one thing.
It's not just anything. The list, it's personal.
I know, and that's why I love it.
It started when I was a kid. After my mum, she tried to kill herself. My dad thought it'd be a good idea if I thought about the good stuff, so I started writing it down, like ice cream or dogs sticking their heads out of car windows. It was supposed to be this shield, something to keep the bad stuff out.
Did it work?
Sometimes.
But not always.
No. She tried again a few months ago.
Does she know you kept the list going?
Yeah.
What does she think of it?
I don't know. She's never really said anything.
Do you want her to say something?
I don't know. Because you know what's fucked up though is that I've written her into that list 1,000 times. Like the way she smells like peppermint in winter, or the way she sings off key when she cooks, but none of it stopped her.
Maybe it's not supposed to stop her.
Then what's the point?
Maybe it's supposed to show her, and you, there are still good things, even when everything feels awful.
It's exhausting, Sam, loving someone who keeps trying to disappear.
I know.
Do you?
Not really, but I want to. I love that list, because it's proof that you're trying, even when things are hard. And I love you for that same reason.
I'm supposed to say things like that.
Too late.
1,000 when someone named Bert. Having one.
Somebody actually reads the book she lent.
When you learn something about someone, it surprises you, but in turn makes complete sense.
2003, realising that for the first time in your life, somebody's not behind you ever read the thought, making it hard to eat, good or punishment. I feel familiarity.
2004, finding an opportunity to say this, which doesn't involve being in the same room at the same time as a both shy and terrified of rejection. But if I don't say something now, it'll never happen. 5, writing about yourself in third person. I have some advice for anyone who's contemplating suicide. It's really simple. It's this. Don't do it. Things get better. They might not always seem brilliant, but they get better. Now, what I'm about to tell you might be really difficult for some of you to understand, particularly the younger members of the audience. Now, back then, there was no way to communicate with anybody after midnight. No messages or instant texts or emails or Facebook. This world was called 1998. I couldn't do anything but just stare at what Sam had written for about 3 hours. And then, eventually, I just continued the list where he had left off. 1006.
Surprises!
1007.
The fact that somewhere out there there's a perfect song to match how you're feeling.
1008.
Dancing in private.
1009.
Dancing in public fearlessly!
1010.
Reading something which articulates exactly how you feel, but lack the words of expression.
I wrote late into the night. 1427.
Not worrying about how much money you're spending on holiday, because all international currency looks like Monopoly money!
I wanted to get up to 2,000, and I kept writing as the sun came up. 1,654.
Walking's voice!
1,655.
Christopher Walken's hair!
So much so good that my hand cramped up. 1,839.
No, you're doing my stuff wrong!
No! My morning alarm went, but I hadn't slept, and I passed 2,000. When 2001, films was better than books and they're adapted from. 2002.
Seeing someone make it onto the train just as the doors are closing, showing that little eye contact, showing in their victory.
2003.
This track, especially the drums in this track, you see, the single version ends at around 4 minutes, but the album version continues for another 5 minutes. And has mostly same drums. In fact,
2004.
Any song with an extended drum break involving full kit, bongos, and cowbell. Have you ever heard I'm a Man by Chicago?
2005.
I'm a Man by Chicago.
2006.
Vinyl records! And I'm not being pretentious, the sound quality is better, it isn't compressed, it's tactile, you can feel the weight of it in your hands. You can't skip it like a CD or MP3. You have to listen to the entire album.
Dad's office had shelves and shelves of records. I used to love sitting there and reading through the amendments or sleeve notes and learning all the different ways the records are made. The next morning, I took the list and I ran to the library and I took Sam for the very first time. We spent every waking moment together, and I wrote new list entries every day as a gift for Sam. 2,389.
Badges!
2,390.
People that can't sing but either don't care or just do it anyway.
And
Pages and pages of it. 4,997.
Gift that you actually wanted for but didn't ask.
4,998.
Oh, falling asleep as soon as you get on a plane. Waking up and feeling like a time traveller.
Everything I thought about. 9,993.
Trees are flying!
9,994. Friendly cats. 9,995.
Falling in love.
9,996.
Sex! Come on, baby! You got me, Johnny!
997.
Being picked for.
Staying up all night talking.
And 10,000.
Waking up late. Someone you love.
Now, this is the drum beat I was telling you about. And I know it just sounds like a bunch of drums, but wait for it. Wait for it. You're about to hear it. Bongos! Yeah. No? You're not. None of you are really getting into this the way I thought you would. So I'm going to do this a little bit differently, okay? I'm going to do it more American. So all of you, put your right hand in the air. Yeah.
Yes! Yes!
It's really difficult, actually. My mum would get carried away like this. The highs and the lows. As a child, it was never tiredness or shyness that scared me. It was happiness, because it was usually followed by, you know, it was all very new, feeling like this. Studies have shown that children with depressed mothers have a heightened reactivity to stress. Mothers who are withdrawn often leave their children to fend for themselves. It actually changes the chemistry in the brain, the fight or flight impulse. But the real risk that I perceived it to be would be that one day I would feel as low as she did, and I would take the same action. Because alongside my anger is a complete and clear, crystal understanding of why somebody would want to take their own lives. I took Sound back home to meet my parents. They were wonderful, they were amazing, they were fantastic. It was awful. They made it seem like I had imagined everything from my childhood. Dad made lasagna and played Cab Calloway records, and we drank and sang around the kitchen piano. Mum would always sing first, and she sang.
I'm so blue. Oh, yeah. Here without you. It keeps raining more. Why can't you?
Tonight he did, and it was fantastic. He sang.
That's life. That's all people say. You're riding high in April, shut down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that too.
He also sang.
And now the end is near, so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain.
And then, quite spectacularly, he sang. He'd obviously never heard it before because it actually sounded like.
Fly me to the moon, let me play on the sky. Yo, yo.
Sang the last song of the night. He sang Some Things Last a Long Time by Daniel Johnston, and I'd never heard it before. Sam's encouragement, the list grew. 123,321.
Palindromes. Anna.
Solos.
People asked if they could read it, add to it, photocopy it. The list got scrawled all over in different handwritings, in different colours, in different fonts, with exclamation marks, amendments, asterisks, roarings, and even the odd diagram, anything generic or universal, like clean sheets or freshly cut grass, new socks, or the smell of bacon, and list entries had become more specific. 256,223.
The feeling of calm, followed by the realization that although you're maybe in a regrettable situation, there's nothing you can do.
525,992.
Rack 7 on every great record.
777,777.
The prospect of dressing up like a Mexican red.
Not the action of a Mexican wrestler, but the prospect of it. Sam and I got married a year after university. He got down on one knee, the whole thing. It was beautiful, it was amazing. No, wait, let's just do it.
We went for a walk in the park near my parents' house. It was raining. I told Sam, this is where I used to walk Sherlock Bones when I was a child. We kept walking. I thought he stopped to tie his shoelace, but when I turned around, he was on one knee. He took my hand and said,
We married.
and I said yes. Let's kiss later. So we picked a date, hired a hall, caterers, band. Everyone was there, even our old vet. We didn't invite him, but he came. Dad did a speech. It was the most wonderful, incredible speech I'd ever heard in my entire life. And if you know Dad, you know he hated public speaking. I said, Dad, you really don't have to say anything, but he said...
No, I really want to. I really want to take this opportunity to talk to everyone. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the father of the bride.
I just wanted to say, if words can express, how proud I am of you. I know it hasn't always been easy, but you kept fighting, and you helped us keep fighting too. You saw the good in me, even when I couldn't. And you deserve every brilliant thing coming your way. To the bride and groom.
To the bride and groom! I remember every word. After the service, once most of the guests had gone home, Mum sat at the piano and played soul songs. And honeymoon to Whitstable in Kent. We were so happy. The sun shone every day. We ate the most incredible seafood. And we moved to London. We got jobs, a car, a joint bank account, a cat. We keyed on everything and then just ran away. We called her Margaret Scratcher. We settled into routine. We saw less and less of each other. We were tired and we argued. We argued about money. We argued about whether we should live in the city or in the countryside. We argued about whether or not we should start a family. We had this one argument in particular a lot. Sam suggested that I talk to someone professionally. That made me so angry. I knew what depression was and I knew that I was fine. I had to study at home and I could sit in there for hours listening to records and reading through the sleeve notes. The lives of other people have always fascinated me. The trials and traumas behind the music, tortured geniuses. Weldon Irvine, Albert Ayler, Ronnie Singer, Donny Hathaway, all incredible musicians. All took their own lives. I'm so grateful to be ordinary. Sam told me I was becoming morose, but I was isolating myself, wallowing. He encouraged me to continue with the list, but I just found it harder to find new things. 826,978. 826,978. 826,978. The list had ended. Just 173,022 short of 1 million. It was finished. So I boxed it up and I threw it away.
Do you notice we don't talk anymore?
We're talking now.
No, I mean, actually talk like we used to.
What's this about?
It's about us, about this, whatever this is.
We're fine.
No, we're not. We haven't been for a long time now.
Sam,
Do you even miss it?
what do you want me to say?
Something, anything, stop. Acting like it's fine when it's not.
What do you want me to do? Break down, cry? That's not who I am.
No! But it's who you used to be, or at least close enough. Now you're just shutting me out.
I'm not shutting you out.
Yes, you are. It's not just me, it's your mum as well.
This isn't about her.
It's always been about her. You never dealt with it. Not really, just kept writing that list like it could fix everything, but it didn't, did it?
You don't understand.
Because you never let me! I've spent years trying to get through to you. You hide behind that stupid list!
It's not stupid.
That's not what I meant.
But it's what you said.
No, look. I'm angry. I love that list, but it's not enough. It's never been enough, and I can't be the only one fighting for this marriage.
I didn't ask you to fight for it. Sam, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that.
That's what you said. Do you know what hurts the most? I don't think you care that we're falling apart.
Of course, I care.
Then show me. Let me in. Tell me what you're thinking, what you're feeling.
I don't know how.
Then we're done.
What?
I can't keep doing this, waiting to be let in. I love you, but I'm tired, and I think you are as well.
I didn't want it to end like this.
Neither did I. You'll be alright, you know?
I'm not so sure about that.
You'll figure it out. I hope you find a way to deal with it. Your mum, everything, for yourself.
I sat in my study while Sam packed his things. I helped him carry boxes to his car. I stood in our doorway and he watched me. That horrible feeling when something is broken and you know it can't ever be fixed. The trapdoor swinging open, fight or flight, or stay as still as you can. I've been feeling like this for a very long time. I watched him drive away. Sam left me a note. He knew that whenever I wanted to think of him, I would listen to the Daniel Johnston song that he sang at my parents' house. Sam's note told me that he loved me and that when I was ready, he'd be waiting and we could try again. But I didn't find that note for 7 years. Perhaps Sam was right. Perhaps I was difficult to live with, difficult to love, but I couldn't hear it from him. I needed to hear it from somebody else, so that night, I did one of the strangest things that I have ever done. Mrs. Patterson?
Yes.
Hi. I'm sorry for calling you silly, and I know that you retired because, well, I called the school and they gave me your number. I know this is really inappropriate, but I'm an ex-pupil of yours. I was the little girl with the list. Do you remember me?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
You used to have a sock puppet, right?
Yeah.
A white poodle. Mostyn the sock dog, wasn't it?
Yes.
When I was younger, I always felt I could talk to Mostyn. I know this may sound strange, but would it be possible to talk to Mostyn now?
Hello.
Hello, Mostyn. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Well, I'm talking to a sock dog on the phone, so apparently not great. I'm sad, Mostyn. Like, I'm really sad, and I don't think there's anything I can do to change that. When I was younger, you knew me better than anyone. I wanted to ask, do you remember what I was like?
Yes.
Was I happy?
People think kids are easy to figure out. That they're open books just waiting to be read, but then they're more like locked diaries where the key got lost under the couch years ago. My job is to help them find it, or at least crack it open a bit. This. He was my best tool. Children will tell things to a sock puppet that they'd never tell an adult, like some sort of magical portal to the truth. I give him a silly voice, and suddenly it's safe to say all the dangerous, tangled things inside their heads. But sometimes I hear things that stay with me, things that I carry home in my chest. There was this one girl. She had this brightness about her, this fierce kind of hope, and it was incredible because life had handed her some pretty dark cards. Her mum, she tried to leave her for good, and she carried that weight in every step she took, but she wouldn't talk about it. Not at first. She'd just sit there, staring at the puppet, like it was going to tell her how to feel. So I waited, and waited, until one day, out of nowhere, she said,
Why would somebody leave you if they're supposed to love you?
just like that. No warning.
What are you supposed to say to a question like that? There isn't an answer, at least not one that fits neatly into a puppet's mouth, so I didn't try. I just listened. That was what she needed. Not solutions, but someone who wasn't afraid to sit with the sadness. I think about that girl a lot. I wonder if she's okay. I hope she is. I hope she's still making her list. Her brilliant things. I never told her. I have a list of my own. I started it after I met her. Silly things like the smell of new crayons, the way my dog looks when she dreams, the sound of laughter bouncing off these walls. And this puppet, who reminds me every day that sometimes all you need is a safe place and a little bit of courage. And maybe a sock with googly eyes.
Thank you. It means a lot to hear that from you. I'm sorry that I called so late. I won't call you again. Good night. I did talk to someone. A support group? Hello everyone. This is my first session. I've resisted doing this. I'm British. I found that it's good to talk about things, particularly things that feel hardest to talk about. When I was younger, I was so much better at being happy and at feeling joy, but being a grown-up, being conscious of all the problems in the world, the complexities, the tragedies, the disappointments, I'm not sure I can ever truly feel happy. I'm just not very good at it. It's comforting to know that there are other people who feel the same. I made a list of everything that's brilliant about the world. I began making it as a present for my mum. The list is actually, wait a second, I think I have it with me. Wait. Is it in here, Bob? You see, I threw it away, but unbeknownst to me, my partner at the time actually got it out of the rubbish and hid it in a box in the garage under an old tablecloth and left a note about it in the Daniel Johnson record. Well, you don't need to know the details.
Mork and Mindy, my new sleeveless top.
Old people holding hands. If you live a long life and you get to the end of it without once having felt crushingly depressed, then you probably haven't been paying attention. I wasn't around for the last time. I was in Australia with work, and when I got the call, I was on the beach. Dad wasn't around either. A neighbour had complained about the exhaust fumes, and eventually police had to cut through the garage door. Hose pipe through the driver's side window. Surprised me actually, because Mum hated driving. She had poor circulation and would always complain about her ankles on long journeys. They said it's a masculine way to choose to die, but I don't know what that means. There was a pad and a pencil on the passenger seat, but she hadn't written anything. I drove Dad to the funeral. He sat in silence. He smoked with the window down. under this pie. After the service, meeting my mum's friends and colleagues, I realised just how much the list had changed the way that I see the world. 31, 45,
Okay.
341,
Alcohol.
577,
Tea and biscuits.
1092.
Conversation.
The list hadn't stopped her. It hadn't saved her. Of course it hadn't. I got a text from Sam.
I heard about your mum. So sorry. Give me a call anytime. I'd love to hear your voice. Love, Sam. Yes, I heard that Beyonce is related to the composer Gustav Mahler. It occurred to me that this is something I should put on your list. Truly a brilliant thing.
Well, I suppose congratulations are in order. I finally did it. Took a few tries. Persistent, wasn't I? But I got there in the end. No fuss this time, no one to find me in time. No hospital gowns or stomach pumps, no foolish explanations, just quiet. You think that's what I wanted, wouldn't you? Silence, peace, but it's not quite that simple. I didn't want to die. Not really, I didn't want to live like that, with this heavy, grey thing pressing down on me every day, no reason, no event, just there, like it's always been. And it's exhausting pretending it isn't. Smiling through it, loving through it, and God, I did try, especially for you. And that list, yeah, I knew about that list. I found it once tucked under your bed. Every brilliant thing. I thought it was some school project. But it was me. For me, you thought if you wrote down enough good things I might say. Ice cream, roller coasters, laughing so hard that you snore. You remembered everything, thank you. The little things, the things I've forgotten how to see. And I wanted it to work. I did. I wanted these words to be enough to pull me out. And sometimes, for a moment, they were. Sometimes the weight was lifted just enough for a breath, but it always came back, and I hated myself for that. For not being strong enough, for not being able to hold on, for not being enough, for leaving you with all this mess. I wonder sometimes, when you think of me now, do you only remember the bad bits? The days I couldn't get out of bed, or the nights I didn't come home? Or do you remember the good things too? I hope you do. I hope you remember the music and dancing in the kitchen, and I hope you remember the way I loved you. Because I did more than anything, more than I could ever say out loud. And if you're still writing that list, keep going. Add to it. If not for me, then for yourself, because maybe it's not about making the sadness disappear. Maybe it's just about finding enough reasons to stay. And you, oh my love, you were always my best reason. Suppose I better let you go with it. After all, there's a story to tell, and
hands are colder than usual.
Your circulation's better than mine. It always has been. Besides, you like warming them up. It gives you something to do.
As if I don't have enough to do. Keeping up with you. Still can't stand still, can you?
Not when there's so much to see. Look, the blossom's early this year.
You always said you liked spring best. You said it made you hopeful.
I still think like that. Everything's starting again. New leaves, longer days.
New mistakes.
Well, yes. But you get to keep the good bits too, and that's what makes it worth it.
Not everyone sees it that way.
I know.
Do you think things could have been different?
You mean still old and creaky on a park bench?
No, I mean this. Still holding hands. Still arguing about who left the tap running.
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think we found a way to stay together, I mean, even when things got hard.
It was hard for a long time.
I know. But there were good things too. You saw them, didn't you? Even when I couldn't.
I tried.
I know.
I still think about her every day. What we might have been like. What we could have been like.
Me too.
Do you think she ever knew how much we ever loved her?
I'd like to think so. I bet she felt it even on those worst days.
I still make lists sometimes. Stupid things. The way you snore like a chainsaw. Toast with too much butter. The smell of rain on warm pavement. Things that keep you there.
And I'm still here.
You are.
It's a nice thought though, isn't it? That somewhere in some version of things we managed to grow old together.
It is.
Come on, let's get you home. You're useless without a cup of tea.
I suppose I am.
I stayed with Dad for a few months after the funeral. We spend our days walking, reading, listening to records. He'd fall asleep in his armchair and I sat at his desk. I began to type out the list, starting from the very beginning. 1.
You don't think it will happen? Not really. Even after the first attempt, you tell yourself it was a moment, a mistake. She didn't mean it. She couldn't have. You go home from the hospital and you make promises. I made 1,000 promises. I'll listen better, be more patient, keep the house quieter, go out in the fresh air more. Oh, that's the cure. Fresh air. But it never goes back to the way it was before. You try. God, you try. But there's always this thing sitting between you. This fear that doesn't even have a face, it's just a weight pressing down on you. And every time she looked a bit distant, every time she missed dinner or stayed in bed all day, I'd think, is this it? Is this the time? I can't stop it. And then, one day it was. Third time lucky, they say, don't they? I hate that phrase. You just roll down the window and let the exhaust do the rest. I think that was the part that broke me. That it wasn't impulsive. It was planned. Decided. But you know the worst part? The part I carry around like a stone in my stomach. I was relieved. Not because I wanted her gone, but because the waiting was finally over. And I hate myself for that. But my daughter, my girl, she pulled me back. We pulled each other back, I think. She'd come over with takeout and lists, stupid lists of brilliant things, blueberry muffins, Dogs with their heads out car windows, that one perfect spoonful of peanut butter. But God, they help. We're okay now. Not perfect, but okay. We talk about how long we need to. We laugh when we can. And every now and then, we sit down and write new lists together. Because life isn't always brilliant. But it's worth finding the bits that are. That's what she missed, I think. The bits that were still brilliant. I wish I could have shown her more of them. But I'll keep looking. For me. And for her.
It was a lot of work. Several weeks of sleepless nights. But once I got to the end, I kept going from where I left off. 826,979. The fact that Beyonce is Gustav Mahler's 8th cousin 4 times removed. I completed the list. Yes. I left it at my dad's house so that he could read it, and I drove back to London. He never mentioned it directly, but I knew that he'd read it because he said,
Thank you.
and he said,
I love you.
and I told him, sentiment like doesn't suit you. 999,997.
The alphabet.
999,998.
The inappropriate song played at emotional moments.
Oh yeah!
And for a while it worked, didn't it? Number 37, the way she touched you in at night. Number 112, the smell of rain on a hot pavement. Number 578, when she came back.
That time she came back.
I keep asking myself, why wasn't it enough? All of that love, why didn't it hold? Maybe it wasn't about saving someone, maybe it never was, maybe it was about just giving them something to hold on to. And when they can't hold on anymore, the memories are what we're left with, what we carry when they're gone. I still have them, you know. I kept every single one, even the bad ones. Like that day. That last day. How quiet the house felt afterwards. The cup of tea she never finished. Key in the ignition, the space she left. I tried to put those ones away, I did, but some memories won't stay in one of my jars, so. But there are brighter ones, like number 1, ice cream, number 34, laughing so hard you snort, number 1,999, knowing the love. She did. She loved you. Even when the darkness tried to take everything else, it could not take that. If I've learned anything, it's this. Memories can't save people. They can't bring her back, but they're what we have left, so I'll keep them safe. Every brilliant, messy, beautiful thing. Because some people go, and love stays, always.
1 million. Listening to a record for the first time, turning it over in your hands, placing it down on the deck and putting the needle down, hearing the faint hiss and crackle of the sharp metal point on the wax, then sitting back, listening and reading the sleeve notes.